May is National Hypertension Month, and today we are shining a light on that condition that nearly half of all adults in this country, many without even knowing. High blood pressure is often called a silent killer because it carries no warning signs, yet it remains one of the leading causes of heart attack and stroke. Joining us with more is Rachel Snyder and Addie Lennox with Baptist Health. Thank you so much for joining us, ladies.
Thanks for having us.
It's so important that people know their numbers. And even just in this intro, it's shocking that nearly half of all Americans could even have hypertension. But kind of explain to us who can have high blood pressure.
So, like you said, nearly half of Americans have high blood pressure, and actually 75% of those 50% that have high blood pressure aren't even adequately treating it. Those who are at risk for high blood pressure, people who smoke, have diabetes, high cholesterol, and obesity.
So important that, again, we know those numbers. And what is a normal blood pressure reading? What does that look like?
So normal blood pressure reading, really like textbook, is about 120 on the top over 80.
And so what does that mean?
So the 120 is the systolic blood pressure. That's, the force when your blood is squeezing out. And then the bottom number, the diastolic, is when the heart is filling or relaxing.
We do have a chart that we're going to pull up that kind of looks at what normal is and then eventually gets down to what is called hypertension. So what is hypertension?
So hypertension is when the heart is actually, it causes the heart to work too hard. Having hypertension can lead to issues like coronary disease, heart failure, and atrial fibrillation.
Which is so scary. And, what causes hypertension?
So different risk factors for hypertension. Genetics can play a role in it. Like I said, having diabetes and high cholesterol and obesity, smoking can play a role in it. And what happens with the with hypertension is the heart is working so hard, the blood vessels within your body are constricting, causing that pressure to increase in the heart, leading to the hypertension. It can also put you at a risk for stroke as well.
I know a lot of people, they just deal with so much stress nowadays. Would you say that is also one of the main causes?
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, and that's why stress reduction is also important, along with, eating a healthy diet, keeping a healthy weight, staying active.
Having those heart-healthy food, which I know is so important. And those lifestyle changes, what are some of those that can actually lower your blood pressure?
So for sure, of course, like healthy eating, limiting your sodium intake, trying to eat, real food instead of fake and processed food. The processed food is typically loaded with sodium. Sodium is going to elevate your blood pressure. Exercise is really important. Your heart is a muscle, so you can actually improve the strength of your heart by exercising, and that in turn lowers the blood pressure. Of course, you don't want to smoke. Not smoking is probably like the #1 thing you can do to protect your heart. And limiting your alcohol intake. Honestly, probably not having any alcohol is best, but that's hard to do for some people. So as long as you just keep it at minimum.
Looking at the statistics too, this actually kind of targets the Black and Hispanic communities. And why do you think that is?
I think a lot of the time they're just at a higher risk from a genetic standpoint. And then, of course, I think access to care can be a big issue as well, which is unfortunate. And so when you're already predisposed to it from a genetic standpoint, and then you're not routinely going for appointments and getting your blood pressure checked, and you just don't know that you have high blood pressure, so you're not treating it until it's almost so far late into the game, it's kind of hard to get it back on track.
Right, and of course women especially need to know their numbers. So why should pregnant women and even young adults monitor that blood pressure too?
Well, it's important for women who are pregnant to monitor their blood pressure because high blood pressure in pregnancy can definitely lead to preeclampsia, which puts the baby at risk as well. And you could have serious effects with the high blood pressure during pregnancy after the fact. So it's really important to keep an eye on it then. And for young adults too. I think sometimes young adults assume that everything's great and that they're healthy just because they're young. But, especially with genetics, some young adults are predisposed to having high blood pressure, so it's important to catch it early.
Even though we're feeling good, it's still important to know your numbers. And we also want to remind everyone that the Go Red Experience is coming up on June 10th. That's going to be such a special day. We're looking at some photos right now. Again, to just celebrate women, to know that we are on their side and to really take control of their health. So if people are interested in maybe learn more about Baptist Health, where can people go for that information?
Well, just a Baptist in general, you could always go to the Baptist Health website. There's a lot of information on there. They have a list of providers that you can make appointments with.
And there's really good information on the American Heart Association website as well, as far as things you can do to improve your blood pressure. I know that they have recommendations on there for diets to follow. I believe they even have recipes on their website.
Which I love that.
For healthy foods. So they have a lot of great information on there.
They really do. All right, ladies, thank you so much for stopping by today.
Thanks for having us.
All right, you are welcome. To learn more, just head over to their website, heart.org.